Good morning, everyone. And Miss Willie the Bam Johnson just checking in, saying good morning. Would love to start with a prayer once again for the gratitude and thanks that I have for the Creator, one God. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I would like to once again say thank you to everyone out there, especially everyone that's been sharing the poster for the documentary coming out from Maverick Entertainment called The Bams. The Willie Johnson story. One of the things that the BAM spells is the better attitude makers. Wherever we go, it's about improving the environment, the people we come in contact with, everything overall. We just want to make it a better place. And that's truly what the BAM spells, the better attitude makers. And I just, want to say thank you to everyone, even attending Seafood Cliff's event. Want to say thank you to Seafood Cliff. It was an honor and a privilege just to be there, and just so awesome. And I just want to thank everyone that came up and showed so much love for the DVDs, for the books, and all the things that we did. Tyrone Bollick, Dragon Squad, everyone that just has constantly been showing so much support towards, what we are trying to do. I try to stay consistent with what I do because it's all about giving praise back to the one true God and just trying to be a living example for so many people out there. Once again, prayers are out there for everyone that's going through some challenging times. My wife, so much love for you, so many prayers. People asked about you. Just wanted to make sure I say that out loud. But what I want to talk about this morning is just a couple of something that really it's some. Oh man, God is just great. There's so many things that happen that just once again show you a constant reminder of greatness. Messiah graduating from eighth grade, and everybody coming out and celebrating for Mr. Messiah, our Messiah that truly helped us and empower our family. All the students, all the family, just so incredible. Blessings go out to Mr. Marco. Hope you feel better, my brother. Just everybody, man. God is good. There's one God. But one of the things I want to touch on is I want to read it from the book, Daily Reflections. There's a couple that I read in the morning. So it's the Daily Reflections, the Miracle Mornings. I was reading that this morning. I got some powerful stuff going on in there. And Miracle Morning for Recovering Addicts. And that's a powerful one. But this one is the one I want to hit you with. It says, when the going gets rough, it's designed for living that works in rough going. It's for me, it's easy to forget God and forget the dark times and the things you have to do to get through the challenges when all things are good. And I have to always remember, regardless of what's going on, I got to pray every day when things are good, when things are bad, when things are just uncertain. I seen a movie yesterday, a powerful movie. They got all these movies coming out about addiction and struggles and, the epidemics with so many different drugs. And, it was a powerful movie. It's based upon a true story. And, reminds me of what I had to go through. And day to day, what I have to continue to stay focused on, because you can forget the pain. I'm talking about even the pain of the COVID-19, what it was like on the early beginnings when it was total chaos and we was on lockdown. And I can never forget it. I don't have to live in it, but I can never forget it, because it always must be a constant reminder for why I have to do what I do each and every day. Like getting up in the morning, like praying, everything that I do is, to me, are reminders never to make a decision that can take me back to where I came from or come close to that. I cannot live in that sort of behavior. And it goes on and it says, when I came to AA, I realized that AA worked wonderfully to help me stay sober, to help me stay on the right path. But could it work on real life problems, not concerned with drinking. I said it again. Could it help with real life problems? One of the things that I realized in my meditation, and even when I reflect back to that movie, is that, I mean, man, sometimes people are going through some devastating stuff. I'm talking some real powerful, painful stuff. And I got to write about half of the things I've been through and I experienced and I lived through in order for people to get that picture, because, you know, for me to share this testimony is to empower the next generation so they would never have to go down that path. But man, I got to put it in books. I got to put it in the things I do, because my life is so scattered because there's so many crazy things that happen. You know, I'm just trying to simplify it so I can put it in a structured manner and look back and say, damn, I really went through that. Damn. You know, and my kids, my family, celebrations, certain things happen that just allow me to be able to simplify it and see it and say, okay, man, but I cannot forget it, because I don't think, boy. When I see other people's struggles, it just reminds me of why I got to tell it. See, to me, I believe that we're on a constant quest to tell ourselves our stories, because we got to if we don't reflect and study, we study everything. We look at everything. We do an inventory for everything. But a lot of times we forget to do inventories about ourselves. Good morning. Hello, Miss Wanda. How are you, ma'am? A lot of times we forget to tell ourselves those testimonies, those struggles. I have to reveal that to myself. I have to keep on repetitively going over what I went through, how I survived and what happened. And man, it just forces me to pray even more and dig down deeper. And it goes on, it says, I had my doubts. After being sober for more than 2 years, I got my answers. Now, when I watched this thing last night, I had to realize that, and I was telling someone this the other day, let's understand one thing. When we talk about sober and we talk about recovery, to me, we all are trying to stay sober from something. We're trying to all arrest something, some type of struggle, some type of character defect. You know, it's not the drug, it's not the alcohol, it's some character defect. It's something inside of all of us. That's why we're not perfect. There's something that we all are trying to, you know, nobody's perfect. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. No one's perfect. What's up, little cuz? Albert, love you, man. We're all fighting through something. And that's what martial arts is all about. You know, until we can look at ourselves and understand ourselves, we can't go nowhere. And for me, I cannot ever forget that, because I can never go back and be the person I used to be. So for me, when I first got in trouble and that awareness came at that moment where it was like, whoa, man, do I want to die? You know, do I want to just end my life right now? Or do I want to live? And I chose life. I chose to live. It was hard. It was, you know, I might say it, but come on, man. I never thought that I would be clean and sober. Just when they said just for the day, there's no way I could stay clean and sober for a day. There's no way. And I'm not even talking about the drug. What I need to remember, I came up with a generation where it was about the lifestyle. It was about the money, the bling, the things, you know, the power, money, power, respect. They talk about that. I was listening to a song with me and my son yesterday, Scarface, money, power, and respect, money and the power. Who don't want that? Who don't want that? That's that false sense of security, which represents money, power, and respect. That's what I fought for. And I realized that, once again, the brother D, when I was locked up, that it wasn't even, I was addicted more to a lifestyle than I was to a drug or a drink. But when I got to the end of the celebration of the, you know, because I'm a conscious person, I know that I was raised. Albert, you know that, cuz we were raised to be good people. We came from a good family. I used to think we owned the church because we were in the church so much. Those seeds were planted. So it's the thing that I learned, that when the truth is revealed to you, you will never be the same. You can run around, you can act. But the reason why most people that have come into recovery and they realize that there's a way out, they will go back and fall down on their face fast and probably lose their lives, is because once you know the truth, your conscious mind will never be the same again. It will never be the same. When you know the truth, you're fighting a hell of a war now, because now you're fighting against what you know inside. You know better. And for me, I had to just drop down, man, and just surrender. I had to surrender to win. And once I surrendered to win, It says, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. That spiritual teacher came. I used to think it was a physical teacher. You know, until we find a way to love ourselves and spend time with ourselves and understand ourselves by ourselves and with God, we're going to always be lost. It cannot be, the greatest mentor, coach, and teacher in Sifu is you. I'm going to say that again. The greatest coach, mentor, teacher in Sifu is you. See, because once you understand yourself, what you're doing is trying to connect with people of like minds to find out that we're more alike than different. And we realize how we can evolve and we can complement and enhance one another. You can never, we spend so much time in our lives constantly going back to get a new black belt, trying to get somebody to teach you something. When do we go back to the purity of being a child, where the child discovers? You know, when the child's walking, they fall and they, don't say nothing, leave them alone, let them be, shh. And the kid the child they don't even cry. They get back up, they learn to walk, they learn to move, they learn to do things. It's like, whoa. We as adults can't forget that. You know, I'm a child. Come on, I don't want to lose that, man. I want to have fun. I want to have joy. I want to, you know, I just want to enjoy life. You know, they say a black belt is a white belt that never quit. Every time I wake up, I'm just a new person. I can't hold on to yesterday because yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and all I got right now is a reality. So when I learn to appreciate those seconds, that's what 1 out of 100 means. You learn to appreciate the seconds. We only have a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Didn't choose it, can't refuse it, but it's up to me to use it. Do it now, do it now, do it now. And once I did that, those seconds led to minutes, minutes to hours, hours to days, days to week. And that was 37 years ago, you know, and just for the day, I still live just for this second. You know, and it goes on and it says, you know, after 2 years, I got my answers. I lost my job, developed physical problems, and diabetic father lost his leg, and someone I loved left me for another person. You know, that's the thing we don't talk about. It's funny, I'm reading another book called Winning, and it talks about winning. You know, we always talk about win, get the trophy. But, you know, if you done won, I done been to those highest levels. Can you imagine winning the title? I remember going to Germany and winning the Waco World Championships. But after I won it, I was back to normal. I would go to tournaments and win major events, come back to the hood. And it was like, yo, what up, Bam? Ain't nobody caring nothing about that. But for that one moment, that was just kind of like, what was it? It was like that turbocharger to give you a little bit more to keep pushing forward. And you got to understand, it's the side we don't talk about. When you're striving to move forward in anything that's good, there's going to be so much adversity. You know, 99% of the weight is going to be against what you want to do. I need to say that again. 99% of the weight is going to be against that 1%. It's going to be against that 1%. We don't talk about that side that much, but that's the truth. You know, that's why I always say when my wife, she'll say, or other people say, man, I got some good news, bad news. Tell me the bad news. I need to know the bad news. Tell me the bad news. So I can grab it, I can hold it, I can work through it, and then I can celebrate the good once I get through the bad, the challenging, you know, and it's all necessary, because to me, what I believe God only gives us what we can bear. If we hold on and we learn to breathe and settle in and relax and dig inside ourselves and understand our own truth, then guess what? We can use it as a stepping stone to move forward. That's so important. That's why you know, we spend so much time. My students will tell you call them my friends. When they in there working and I'm teaching them, I get frustrated when they looking at me for an answer. I say, just do it, man. Why are you looking at me for the answers? Let's discover your truth together. Because in return, I'm going to discover my truth. But you counting on me. Every human being's going to fail you. I don't care how much money they got. I don't care who they are. I don't care what. I don't care. I do not care. They are human just like you. It's just that for whatever reason, they have achieved a little bit more external than what you have. But at the end of the day, when we wake up, we all equal. You know, the is we all, as COVID-19 showed you that. That's the dojo shows you that. Working out shows you that. You know what I'm saying? It's what we put in that shows us how far we go. But at some point in time, you stop worrying about competing against someone else. You're competing against yourself. When I was locked up, it was about me against me. How could I become a better person than what I used to be? That's why, once again, I said in that documentary, it's called The BAMs. The BAM is not a person. It's an acronym. It's the Better Attitude Maker. Wherever we go, we must make things better. We must uplift, empower, educate, and not have no hidden agenda so someone can be worshiping us and honoring us. It's so much bigger than me. You know, what I do comes through me, and I just try to ride it. You know, I get on the bus of life, and God's driving that bus, and I'm just celebrating what I discover. I never want to get back to thinking that it's me. You know, I wrote this, I did that. No, I'm a student of life, and I think I'm a great student. And many people tell me that. Brother Byron, much love, you know, all those people tell me that, and I'm grateful for that. And it goes on and it says, reality crushed me, but yet AA was there to support me, comfort me, and strengthen me. A lot of times we don't give that to other people, man. I think what's so important, one of the things I learned through my journey, I remember when I came home, I thought everybody should, like, I'm on this spiritual path. I could quote the Bible, cross-reference the Bible with something in the dictionary, then the Quran, anything that talks about the truth, you know, because the truth is universal. It don't need no support. It just connects. The only time we don't see the connection in anything that speaks about a higher power is when our ego come into play. And what's the flip side of the ego? Easing God out. So the only time, you know, I don't see these connections is when I want to be right. You know, I want to prove someone else to be wrong. I don't want that no more. I'm just trying to live just one day at a time. So one of the things that I realized is that, you know, when I came home, I thought everybody should support me. Everybody should believe that Bam Bam was really trying to get his life together. Thank you, sir. God is good. You know, man, come on. This come from, you know, my mom, my grandparents, you know, your dad. Come on. I'm just carrying it on, you know, and most importantly, the Most High. But think about this. You know, I come home thinking my sister and them supposed to celebrate me. I come home thinking that everybody's supposed to bow down because now Bam got his life together because now he's ready to go take care of his kids. Now he's ready to go take care of responsibility. Now he's ready to go take care of pay his bills. Guess what? You don't get rewarded for what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pay your bills on time. You're supposed to deal with life on life terms. You're supposed to be a respectful, law-abiding citizen. If you give birth to a kid, you're supposed to take care of the kid. If you have a wife or someone, you're supposed to treat them like they queen. You're supposed to show respect to your parents. You're supposed to show up at work on time. You don't get no pats on the back for doing what you're supposed to do. Come on now. That's a part of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to breathe. You don't get no pat on the back for breathing like that. That's a part of your norm. Do something a little bit more. Then we talk about that. Expand it. Show other people how to breathe. Learn how to breathe properly. Learn how to breathe under pressure. Learn how to breathe when you put in a jail cell, locked down 23 hours and let out for 1, and you claustrophobic and you realize that, I'm about ready to die. You sit down, you meditate, and you breathe in and you breathe out. And you learn to exist and live more than 37 years when yet you were set to die. Why? Because you're claustrophobic. You cannot handle small end places. When you realize that God gave it to you for a purpose to grow from and use as a strength, whoa, it becomes a blessing. That's why even with our program called Point MMA, I had to learn how to grapple and deal with people over top of me and cramming me in and locking me up. Because guess what? I was claustrophobic. As a little kid, I got my head caught up under the bathtub. I couldn't handle all that. But you got to turn that negative into a positive and use it as a stepping stone to move forward. So we learn to support. The principles I have learned doing everyday sobriety have now made me learn to appreciate those moments when people didn't pat me on the back for doing what I was supposed to do. You know, my sister, if you ever see this, I love her so much. The greatest thing my sister ever said was, get out. You can't live here, Bam Bam. You got to go. I know that was hard for my sister. At that time, I didn't. When I was locked up, I used to say all these bad things, but brother, he said, no, say it, bruh, because I know how much I love. I just didn't understand it because I had to go through what I had to go through. But I remember my niece, you know, sitting there, wouldn't open the door, and it's in my book. And she looked out the window, and a teardrop just dropped out her eye and hit my face. Pow. And she said, Uncle Bam Bam, Mommy said you can't come in. Man, that's when reality, it still didn't hit me. It was real, but I still didn't comprehend it consciously, so I left. But that was the greatest thing that my sister ever said. It's time to be a man. Go get your kids. So my sister was here. My wife was here yesterday because my sister was here, and I fell asleep on my sister's shoulder. That's my sister, my big sister. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing none of this stuff. And when I became the Bam Bam that she didn't. She couldn't identify with. She had to let me go. She had to, you know, I know how hard it was for. But to see the celebration that she has today, come on, man. She the one that told me believe in Bruce Lee. She the one who told me to do things. My little poster fell off over there. My my just happened to see that. Sorry, gotta stay focused. But she the one that made me believe. She told me what I had to do. She said, "No, you don't. I don't want you to be like no other man. I want you to be like Bruce Lee. Be like Bam Bam. You know, you were put here to be something special. We are all have the ability to be that 1%, but it takes a commitment. It takes." You know, I don't know why I get up in the morning. I just know that I used to give. I got up and sold death and did negative things. Why can't I get up and give life? You know, man, it's just, you know, I'm not striving for anything. I'm just being whatever God wants me to be, you know, and that goes once again to my sister and people that planted those seeds, you know, and it goes on and says, to me, once I learned those principles, I was able to handle tough times, challenging times. I realized that, you know, we got to accept things that come our way. You know, things happen around us, but guess what? You got to be able to take a deep breath, go through it, and still smile and be happy, because guess what? As long as we surrender to God, we can do some remarkable things. And, you know, that's what that reading, you know, I get from it today. And today I celebrate, you know, for me, a new transformation, a new commitment to become a better person, a different person. You know, some of us think we have arrived. Man, I'm constantly striving. You know, and one of the things that recently happened with me, with my kids, Messiah, you know, he was telling me, you know, because I realized that one of the things, and I say this in closing, because I accomplished so much as a young kid, and I talked about this when I was coming up, competing all over the world, 17 years old. Albert, you know, I mean, and I appreciate when you said it, you know, how I always wanted to be like Bruce Lee. I always had the Bruce Lee pictures, always did that. But I didn't really believe it. I probably was just going through the motions because I was in so much pain. So I just went through whatever was making me feel better. Who would know that one day I would wake up and I would be living this dream? I would be living what I live today. You know, since I was 6 years old, this is all I did. And, you know, when I was blessed to be able to accomplish all those things at such a young age, going to China and everything, yeah, I still remember the one day when I had a school down right up the street at the Inner Harbor, you know, the first Dennis Brown Shaolin Wushu Academy there, you know, it was a school I got through sponsorship, Mr. Broadway Payne in Baltimore. I remember sitting there saying, man, you know, look at what I did. And I believe I was like, I always play this picture through my head. I was on this carpet of success. I was achieving everything. So young, the youngest kid competing, doing all the flips, doing everything. And I was on this carpet, you know. And when I started thinking that I had total control, the power that was supporting my journey, regardless of what was going on, I was moving like this through life. Sometimes it would be going around about ready to tip over. But the moment I thought I was in charge, it just fell. And that was me. And I came tumbling down in the world like that. And that's when I went to the pits of hell. I mean, I was in hell. I was in hell, hanging with whatever was negative. I was there. And I started believing that it was a part of who I should be. Thank God that I was given that foundation that my mom and my grandparents and my Uncle Robert Lee and everybody gave me, and Uncle Richard and everybody. They implanted these seeds about, you know, the Bible and about God and something much higher. I knew I deserved better. That's why when I first got in trouble, I said, man, I got to talk to kids. And that's when I came up with the concept of stronger than drugs. You know, I got to go and talk to them. I didn't really have a strong enough strength and courage to stand on the foundation, but I had a foundation. And Brother D helped me to realize what was already inside of me. You know, and one of the things that I realized once I got to this other side and I was able to come back, you know, after being incarcerated and coming back and taking my time to going about step by step to achieve success and make sure I don't ever go back to what I went through. And much love to Kevin Thompson, Richie Brandon, and all those people who always treated me, Mr. Nick Kokinas. There were so many people that treated me with so much love. Master Brown, they never judged me. They just gave me opportunity to just be me. You know, thank God for those people. Thank God for the judge that didn't violate my parole. When I, you know, one of the things I did when I came home, I wanted to stay clean and sober so bad. I was so sick and tired of being in hell. I mean, something I had watched yesterday in this movie, the mom got in the car with her daughter, and she was like, she had to roll the window down because her daughter was stinking so bad. And while she was trying to take it to rehab, she was just stinking. That was me. I remember one time getting on the bus and I was stinking so bad, not taking a bath or anything. I used to roll myself up in a burnt down building, the carpet, boom, and I would roll up and go to sleep, and I would be so paranoid thinking things was crawling on me, thinking people was coming to get me. You know, I ain't want that no more, man. I didn't want that no more. I could tell you even more worse stories than that, but I had to get out, man. I just had to get out. So I was willing to do whatever it took. You know, see, champions do what they have to, not what they want to. And I had to do something different. So I said, I'm going to leave Baltimore. I can't stay here right now. If not, I'm going to go back and hustle. So I got, you know, I was a great walk. My niece gave me $20. I caught the bus. The moment I got off the Trailway bus station, boom, I went and got a job at Burger King. Boom. Once I got the job at Burger King, I checked into a shelter. My instructor said, come work with me. I said, no, Master Brown, I have to do this as a man. And I worked out every day. I knew what I had to do. I had to change everything about me. You know, and I'm so thankful today because once those things came back, one of the things that I still work on today, and Robert, my brother, directed the movie 1 out of 100, it's going, it's going to empower you. Movie done in 4 days. But one of the things that I realized that happened for me was that I still fight through not celebrating the successes. It's kind of hard to take compliments because I used to think I was the man and I was fly, you know, making all that money, doing all those things. I'm not bragging, man. I don't ever want to be that person again. So I'm still trying to find that balance. And my son Messiah was telling me, you know, this weekend, he said, Dad, look at all what you have accomplished. Dad, you're this. Dad, you're famous. Dad, this. My daughter, all of them. And I'm trying to, for me, my new transformation is to accept the accomplishments that I have accept and not downplay them and act like they don't mean anything because they do mean something. Sometimes when I don't celebrate them, and I said it for anybody, when you don't celebrate what you have accomplished, you just try to push it to the back burner like it does it. That's another negative. You cannot push it down and you cannot downplay it. You wanted it, God rewarded it to you. You got to celebrate it, you know, because that can have a ripple effect also on you negatively. And one of the things that I always do, you know, my son Messiah, and I say this, Messiah, if you see this, he wrote a book called How to Raise My Parents. Messiah raised me and my wife, and he took me to a whole new level. My son Messiah wrote this book when he was a little kid. You know, when you read it, man, you know, he sold a couple of copies this week, and people are like, what? Yep, that's what my son did. That's why I am who I am today, because Messiah Johnson helped me. He raised me to become a better dad and raised my wife, all of us, to become better husband and wife, better family. He's truly our Messiah, you know, and once again, he's stepping up. He's like, Dad, nope, you got to do this, Dad. Nope, you got to do this. And I listen to him, you know, I got to listen to him, and he's making me a better person. And, you know, once again, I talked about the documentary, guys. This is a powerful documentary. It was put together. Every time I watch it, I was looking at the other day. I said, man, is this thing really that good? And I was starting to cry because there's some things that I talked about my dad, about my mom, just some, you know, some dark moments. You know, it gets a little raw, and I started crying again because, you know, once again, you're on the other side of your testimony. And a lot of times we don't get a chance to do that. But testimonies are the most powerful things we have. That's your true wealth. And I'm on the other side of it. I'm not trying to get people to pat me on the back or nothing. I'm just trying to hope that I can connect to another kid like Bruce Lee connected to me. And you can inspire them to dig down inside themselves and be that 1% better than what they was before they seen that documentary or read the book. In this book, once again, I wrote this thing to just reveal to people what I went through, but how to avoid dealing with those sort of negative encounters, negative people. You know, if we ever have to fight, we done already lost the fight. But I'm talking about a mindset, a spiritual disconnect, and those things. Because if I can get those under control, the physical part, I won't even pick up a drug or a drink, you know, or punch someone or hit someone or pick up a gun, you know, or even want to fight someone. It's okay to say, you know, it's your world, man. You can have it. This is yours right here. Can I just leave? It's okay to do that. And that's all I want right now. Because the consequences of physical encounters or beating other people down emotionally and mentally is more devastating than succeeding. For that moment, it's like a high. Yeah, you might feel good and people might pat you on the back and might celebrate you. But when you by yourself, if you did it for some other reason other than godly, it's painful. Some people don't come back from that. And the powerful thing, to have brothers down at the flea market, that have men out there on the street. I'm talking, it's great. And I love all the recognition I get in the martial arts, and I love everybody. I love her. But to go back to where I come from and for brothers to say, look, man, thank you for telling our truth. Thank you for telling our truth. That to me means so much. I had another brother down at the flea market. He said, nah, man, give me them documentaries, bruh. We're going to put these into people's hands. Our kids need to know this. See, that's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do. I want it to be at the depth. I want it to be right there while the kid is visiting the devil's house or the negative path. I'm not preaching religion, but I'm just being real. While they in the pits of hell, even if they step out the door for a moment to take a breather, He'll take this shorty. That's what people did for me. And maybe one day they might stumble across picking it up and reading it. It's my duty as Brother D told me to pass it on, to make sure no generation, the next generation don't have to go through the hell that I went through. And when I go there and the brothers say that, you know, or I go back to McKim's Community Center, we making a movie. Somebody, you know, that brother was my man. This is why you got to be aware. And this is what this book talked to you about. We in Baltimore City, because of God, we ended up right back there finishing out the climax fight scene in our movie. You know, you going to celebrate what Baltimore is on the inside. We see what's going on the outside. I'm showing you what's on the inside, what made me who I am, where Point MMA and all that stuff come from. So I'm sitting there and everybody in there is shooting and whatever. And I'm always having this awareness. And I walk up and I see somebody, you know, a drug addict walking and staggering and outside the building. So I hurry up and go over because the fam and everybody in there. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, you cannot go in. You know, and I'm going to be real about this. I say, sir, you can't go in because they're in there shooting the movie. It's closed. Like, man, can I get some water? And he looked at me and said, Bam Bam. And I know who he was. He was my boy's brother. But he was lost. He was in darkness. He wasn't conscious. He didn't have no control over the desire to want to get high and to live out on the street and to be homeless. He was lost. I couldn't expose that to the people that was around me, so I had to protect them. So when he said, Bam Bam, I just looked at him. He said, Bam, are you Bam? I just looked at him. After not saying one thing, he said, oh, I guess you're not Bam Bam. But anyway, man, you know, and he just called me all these names, whatever, but it was cool. I had to bring that situation under control. That's street combat. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm about teaching. You know, I couldn't hurt him and I couldn't hurt them, but I had to be the center of this possible awareness. Wherever you go, we're going to encounter that. But if you ain't prepared and if you ain't ready and you don't know how to vibrantly be able to connect, then we in trouble. That's what the documentary talks about, and that's what this book is about. As a matter of fact, the boy that I seen, his brother is on the documentary. I ain't going to say his name, but I love you, man. And the man that I seen, I love him. I know he seen me doing dirt. You know, I got to clean up the wreckage, and hopefully I'm doing a good enough job. But here's the last thing I want to add. This book is supported by this book. This is by my little boy, Zaria. This is Zarian's book. He wrote this book. What I want to do with this book, I want to take these same principles and give it to the young. And Zarian wrote the book where it's called Little Warrior Safety Lessons for Life. And basically it's a journey of a little kid who sits down and meditate, because meditation is so important, and that's what he's doing on the cover. You know, so he meditates and he begins to visualize about these elements of Kung Fu, snake, tiger, crane. And when he goes on this spiritual journey through meditation, he stumbles across the monkey. And the monkey begins to do movements, and he's in the background emulating the movements of the monkey. And the monkey tells him how his instincts for survival as a monkey relates to his instincts on how to survive as a little kid in the dangerous world of today, which is the same principles of street combat. See, the one thing I learned is that it's about giving the truth. It's about planting seeds. And it's about showing our kids how to read and put it out there. The greatest thing I could do with my kids and me and my wife is just show them how to write. Develop an internal skill that allows them to express their truth for the rest of their lives. And guess what? Boom. They're the stars of the movie. You know what I'm saying? I did it with my oldest son, my daughter. Now, what greater blessing to sit back and see my son Messiah starring in a movie with Rowan and seeing Z playing side by side. God is great, man. Once again, don't give up your goals. Don't give up your dreams. Don't give up what's inside. Whatever moves you inside your heart and soul. I was a 6-year-old kid putting Bruce Lee pictures on my wall. I was a 6-year-old kid, just like I'm doing right now, putting Bruce Lee pictures on my wall. I would steal them. I was so passionately committed to wanting more that I would steal those things and put them up on the wall. I think that I done paid back all the things that I done stole, and I believe God has forgiven me. But now I've been able to be on the front cover of those magazines. I've been able to travel to China. I mean, I got some stuff today. I've been able to be on a TV show, waking up every day in the morning playing myself, the Bam. A same character that I wrote and I created when I was a little kid in love with Shaw Brother movies. You know, so anybody that's out there, I don't care how dark it is. I've been through hell. I was in hell, walking side by side with all the things that was about self-destruction and destroying. And I was able to dig down inside myself and go back to what I know is true. Once again, the spiritual truth of God, which is the higher book, the Bible, whatever it may be. But what helped me even more was the ability to be able to execute simple, creative martial art movements. Even when I was homeless, I was practicing. Even when I was homeless, I would run the monument every day. The Point MMA program, 37 skills, is just giving simplicity to people. Because you know, if we move, I don't care what's going on, if you move and you start doing something and take out the prearranged and the perfectionism out your mind, you'll get through. Motion creates positivity. Because when you move, you start feeling better. You put some music behind it that's uplifting and empowering, man. You hit some stuff, and I'm talking not a person, but some things, or even hit the air, hit the trees. When it's over, I guarantee you will never be the same. That's what this is all about. So I thank everybody. Once again, when the tough gets going, the tough gets going. You know, we get tougher. You know what I'm saying? We don't let nothing stop us. And how do we get tougher? To me, I just put my hands up and I say, God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We know that there's one God. I would say that 7 times when the pain was so powerful. By the time I got to 5, the pain and the emotion was gone. Now, once I played that picture all the way through, when I got to the end of the 7, I was good. That's what life's all about. I thank everybody for joining in this morning. Once again, I thank my son Messiah for helping me grow up even more. This weekend, my son was a great journey with me and you, and just seeing you celebrating Z and my wife. Everybody's just giving you lessons to just become better. I'm grateful for who I am, but I know God got more in store for me. And I just want to continue to be on that journey. And sometimes that journey is just sitting down, watching TV, laughing and joking, playing basketball with the family, hitting some street ball, you know what I'm saying, doing some things, smiling. And we all sit on the sideline, sitting there so exhausted and tired, you know, and then we all come back and sit back and watch TV, and some fall asleep, some laugh. That's life. Albert, that's what we talked about. That's what we used to do. If we don't have those moments of purity and connection with family in our lives, what the hell worth any of this? Why is any of this other stuff worth anything? Family, God, family, community, and then business should be an extension of all of that. I thank everybody. Be blessed. There's one God. Love everyone. One God. Let's make the world a better place by making ourselves better people. Peace and blessings.